but I bet Williams is better than the last guy that Canelo fought. You know what I'm saying? The tougher guy than Canelo fought, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, Rocky failed in, like, at the end of the day, all I was trying to let people be aware is how you pound for pound and you not fighting the best guys today. All right, you fought Triple G at 37 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not fighting none of these guys at their prime. And that's all I was trying to state to people. So yeah, they go back and be like, who did I fight? I can only fight the people that I'm coming up with.
Yeah, because I was reading that quote you said where you talked about the end of the day, Canelo wants to be a unified champion by facing weaker opponents. That's not a real legacy. That's not a real champion. That's not a champion with heart. You still believe that?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, look at the situation we're in. Okay, you got franchise champion, right? When David Benavidez had the belt, he lost. He made a mistake on him, right? He didn't make weight. So Canelo went, and now he found the easy route. He's like, "Oh yeah, like, oh yeah, that guy. Oh yeah, that's easy. I like that. Whoa, yeah, no man." And then he goes, "I don't want to fight another Mexican country mate ever in my life." Like, come on, bro. You fought Chavez, right? For Chavez, you fight Mexican if you need to, but why not fight David Benavidez, where he shouldn't get that right? He shouldn't get paid if he's a stable mate of a Mexican. Why wouldn't you want to be like, you know what? Let's do the Mexican war. We all like go ahead. We want and pay this man and let him get. And if he beats me, he beats me. If he don't, he don't. Like, so okay, Charlo, Caleb Plant. Like, when are these fights are going to happen? Demetrius Andrade. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, Billy Joe, but we seen his last fight. He fought Murray and went to 12 rounds, and he looked like shit. I mean, listen, man, the proof is in the pudding.
The fact that Canelo Alvarez is refusing to fight him, he refused to fight him at 154, 160, and 168. And he pointed out everything that new media have been preaching, that the moment Canelo peeped that David Benavidez lost the title on the scale, he picked on the weakest links. Canelo always fight the weakest link. The same way he did with his WBO title at 154. Canelo didn't want no part of Andrade. When Andrade was the champion challenging Canelo as a non-champion, Canelo never was interested in fighting Andrade for the WBO belt. The moment Andrade vacated the belt, obviously Canelo fought Smith. This is the same thing Canelo did with David Benavidez at 168. When David Benavidez had the WBC title, they reached out to Canelo team on more than one occasion. Canelo team turned it down. The moment David Benavidez lost the belt, the second day, Canelo requests the WBC to fight for David Benavidez's title against Avni Yildirim. This is what Andrade is pointing out, is that Canelo always picking on the weakest link. What's your take on what Andrade had to say when it came to Canelo Alvarez picking on the weakest link?
I say he's right on the money, but like you said last time, Andrade and Charlo need to be super loud on the subject to publicly embarrass Canelo, to make him look like a fraud with his antics of him ducking the both of them. And I think if anything, like Andrade, he's doing everything he can, but I don't see why he cannot try to create some publicity over that. Imagine if Floyd were to do the same thing, if he were to avoid anyone. Everybody would just get on his case and they would publicly shame him to say, oh, Floyd's like avoiding this guy, blah, 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 this guy. So I don't see how those tables could be turned against Canelo, because this guy has no manhood to talk about all the things that he's been slandered by from Andrade and Charlo alone. And he doesn't even mention them. He has nothing to say to them because he knows that they're both dangerous. And I think, like, if anything, if Canelo were to fight them or were to have fought them in the past, he would have been 10 times more embarrassed compared to Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. Well, Canelo is the Walmart version of Floyd Mayweather. He's the poor version, and that's a compliment to say the least, because he's nowhere near Floyd's. Canelo, how can you claim you the best in the world and you say NBF? You the pioneer of the NBF belt, the witness protection belt. How can you claim you the best when you avoid the most dominant race in boxing? Not just one, two. The Black American fighters and the Mexican American fighters. He avoiding the undefeated Black American fighters, Andrade and Charlo. He also avoiding undefeated Mexican fighters, David Benavidez. How can you claim you the best in the world when you avoiding the most two dominant race? And don't bring up Daniel Jacobs. That's a good win on Canelo resume. Possibly the best win. But Daniel Jacobs already lost before on more than one occasion. He lost to Gennady Golovkin, and he got stopped in the past in a way more brutal fashion than Canelo did. Canelo didn't even stop Daniel Jacobs. The point here is Andrade and Charlo, their talent is on a whole nother level. So like you said, I completely agree with the point you brought up. Andrade, he has to do more than just sit back and watch. He has to talk about it. He has to expose Canelo for the duckish moves he continues to make. What Andrade should do is take a page out of Devin Haney's book. You see Teofimo avoiding Devin Haney. Devin Haney does everything to let the public know. He did everything to fight Teo, and Teo turned the fight down. He did the same thing with Gary Russell. If you really want the fans to be on your side, you have to let the fans know and continue to press these fighters that continue to avoid you. Andrade has to take a page out of what Devin Haney did and what he continues to do. Also, take a page out of what Muhammad Ali did. Muhammad Ali didn't just get the Sonny Liston fight. Muhammad Ali drove with a bus to Sonny Liston home. And Sonny Liston, he came out with a gun, shooting at Ali. And Ali ran back to the bus and left. This is what Ali had to do to get the Sonny Liston fight. So I'm not saying Andrade need to drive a bus to Mexico City and go to Canelo home. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is he needs to at least, when he goes to the press conference, man, sneak your way into the ring. Disrespect Canelo. If you can smack Canelo, smack Canelo. You might get the fight that way. If this is what you have to do to get the fight, yeah, I mean, do what you have to do to get the fight. Because apparently insults ain't going to do it.
Canelo, you a bitch. I'm putting it out there. No, I don't like to disrespect men that step into the ring, but then you fighting Kirtland that hasn't been in the ring since Glenn Tapia. When you have an opportunity to fight Demetrius Andrade for the WBO, damn, I thought in the sport of boxing, people want to be a champion, to have that title. I understand you got De La Hoya, you got the promotion team, you got the money, you got the contract, I mean, you got the country, you got the country behind you, the fan base. But damn, you scared of getting into a fight. I thought you was the man. If I knew some Espanol, I'd hit you up with that too, but damn, come on, man, stop playing. Like shit, man. All I want to do is fight, show people I'm the best in the world. I thank God for everything that comes my way and every obstacle that comes my way, man. I know how to slip and slide in between, man.
Andrade already told Canelo, you don't got no cojones. You the B word. I mean, I didn't know what cojones meant. I Googled it. I was like, oh, man, he told him you don't got no balls? Come on, man. Are you saying you the best in the world? You know what Canelo said when Andrade told him you don't got no cojones?
What?
Canelo responded by saying, I don't like his style. In other words, Canelo pretty much just said that he want to change the difficulty mode when it comes to fighting Andrade. It's on too difficult. He want easy mode. Andrade is not there to be hit. He want to fight someone that's there to be hit. How you the best in the world and you can't beat every single style? You got to pick and choose. And then when Canelo fought Gennady Golovkin, remember what he did. He claims Andrade's style is too boring because he moves around. And then when he fought Gennady Golovkin, that's all he did was move around in the first fight. He moved more than Andrade moves. But he got the audacity to tell Andrade how to fight. Andrade, do not move. Stay still. When I throw the right hand, don't move your head. Stay in the center line so I can catch you and knock you out. This is what Canelo is saying. He's saying, how the hell are you the best in the world when you telling fighters what style you prefer and what style you can't beat? At the end of the day, or at least the night, Canelo been avoiding Andrade and Charlo for the past 7 years. To this day. He avoided Andrade and Charlo at 154 and at 160. And soon, when Andrade moves up to 168, what is Canelo going to do? He's going to avoid him at 168 too? The same way now he's avoiding David Benavidez. So what I'm saying, the criticism, the legendary fighters repeat to a T. Chavez Sr., Barrera Morales, Oscar De La Hoya, Hopkins. These fighters I just named, they fought the best. They have a reputation. They're going to fight the best, win or lose. Oscar De La Hoya, he fought the best, win or lose. Chavez Sr., he fought the best, win or lose. Barrera fought the best, win or lose. Morales fought the best, win or lose. They fought the best, win or lose. Canelo, if it's not a guaranteed win, he ain't fighting you. This is what he told his trainer. He said, I will never let you down. In other words, I will never fight a risky fight no more. And people want to say Canelo improved since he lost to Mayweather. How did you improve? I want to know when. When have Canelo improved? When was the time that people was like, oh man, Canelo, he a completely different fighter today than he was yesterday? I really want to know when was that, because Canelo lost to Floyd 8 years ago. That's the day he stopped fighting American style fighters. After that, he looked bad against Lara. Arguably lost the fight because I had him losing it. Lara went in 8 rounds to 4. It was a robbery completely. A lot of people agree, right? That was a close fight. Also, Gennady Golovkin, which was a couple years ago. He arguably lost both fights. So at the end of the day, when did Canelo make this improvement? Even against Kovalev, he looked bad. He was losing the fight till he got the knockout. So Canelo didn't improve. He just, like Andrade pointed out, he always fights the weakest links. And that's the problem with Canelo Alvarez. He want to protect his record when it's not even perfect. See, what made Floyd Mayweather a superstar is that he fought the best while having a perfect record. He fought Sugar Shane Mosley when people was accusing him of ducking Sugar Shane, even though Sugar Shane avoided Floyd Mayweather when Floyd was pretty boy. And Floyd still gave him the opportunity the moment Mosley knocked out Margarito. Floyd fought Pacquiao. Floyd fought Canelo and beat them with ease. This is why Floyd Mayweather became TBE, because he fought the best and maintained his undefeated record. Canelo doesn't even have an undefeated record, and he still doesn't want to fight the best. You literally can't make this up. This man had a guarantee purse on DAZN and still doesn't want to fight the best. This man lost his DAZN contract, $365 million, for cherry-picking Avni Yildirim, a fighter coming off a loss and 2-year layoff, for David Benavidez belt, where DAZN rejected the fight and scratched the contract. This is the type of fighter we're talking about. How can you claim you're the best in the world when you're not even the best in your division?
Shout out to all the other channels that have been putting on all the work, including you, AKHi. I really appreciate everything that you do.
I appreciate you, my brother. Always calling in, spitting the real. I'll talk to you next time.
That's the only situation is Canelo. And what I was trying to state was that, listen, yes, Canelo's biggest stars that he fought, right? Sugar Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, right? And they were 40 years old on their way out, having fought, maybe fought one more time after that. They was done, never in their prime. Kovalev, which wasn't anything that we knew of Kovalev back then. He fight, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are that's his resume. It's a good resume. They're good names, but did he fight them guys at their prime? And so they go back and they try to, like, you know, ridicule my situation. Like, oh, look who Demetrius fight. Yo, I don't have a Miguel Cotto to fight right now. I don't have a Kovalev to fight right now. I don't have these guys. And these guys are probably wouldn't want to fight me anyway, because what? No, you fight Canelo. You go fight Canelo if Canelo wants to give you that opportunity, because why? They got Golden Boy, the Money Machine won, and it's a more popularity situation. It's not that I'm not fighting undefeated guys. The guys you mentioned, some of them was undefeated. One of them fought Billy Joe Saunders, who gave Billy Joe Saunders a hard time. One of them fought Danny Jacobs and gave Danny Jacobs a hell of a hard time, and I made it look easy. It's so, like, I'm fighting real tough guys that have the opportunity to come on up and fight me. I'm not just fighting guys like they saying tomato cans are bum, because nobody stepping in the ring is a tomato can or bum when they get in the ring. But I bet Williams is better than the last guy that Canelo fought. You know what I'm saying? The tougher guy than Canelo fought, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, Rocky failed in, like, at the end of the day, all I was trying to let people be aware is how you pound for pound, you not fighting the best guys today. All right. You fought Triple G at 37 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not fighting none of these guys at their prime. And that's all I was trying to state to people. So yeah, they go back and be like, who did I fight? I can only fight the people that I'm coming up with.
And do you see then, because as I was reading that article,
Tell Andre Ward he wants to get back in. Well, let's fight. If there's somebody, I can have a name under my belt. Get freaking somebody. Go. We have that in my generation right now. Canelo was able to secure those bouts because of Golden Boy, and they were signed with them and all the other stuff. We don't have those guys right now. We have no former like superstar that's ready to get out the game, like I said, Miguel Cotto Moses. We don't have that, so we got to fight whoever's coming up. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Yeah, because I was reading that quote you said where you talked about the end of the day, Canelo wants to be a unified champion by facing weaker opponents. That's not a real legacy. That's not a real champion. That's not a champion with heart. You still believe that?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, look at the situation we're in. Okay, you got franchise champion, right? When David Benavidez had the belt, he lost. He made a mistake on him, right? He didn't make weight. So Canelo went, and now he found the easy route. He's like, "Oh yeah, like, oh yeah, that guy. Oh yeah, that's easy. I like that. Whoa, yeah, no man." And then he goes, "I don't want to fight another Mexican country mate ever in my life." Like, bro, you fought Chavez, right? For Chavez, you will fight Mexican if you need to, but why not fight David Benavidez, where he shouldn't get that right? He shouldn't get paid if he's a stable mate of a Mexican. Why wouldn't you want to be like, you know what? Let's do the Mexican war. We all like go ahead. We want and pay this man and let him get. And if he beats me, he beats me. If he don't, he don't. Like so. Okay, Charlo, Caleb Plant. Like when are these fights are going to happen? Demetrius Andrade. You know what I'm saying? Like okay, Billy Joe, but we seen his last fight. He fought Murray and went to 12 rounds, and he looked like shit. I mean, listen, man, the proof is in the pudding.
Do you think that even though you're there at DAZN, do you think it's like almost like that? And I don't want to come off as sounding as if they sold you a bill of goods, but whether it's Canelo, whether it's Triple G, whether it's Billy Joe Saunders, you would think they would, or Daniel Jacob, they would give you that fight by now, and they keep moving it away. So for some reason, do you feel like at the end of the day, have you ever sat back and say, I don't really think they're going to give me these fights that I've been looking for and that people want to see me in?
I mean, listen, all I can do is continue to do my job, and that's continue to win. And everybody got to get behind Demetrius Andrade a little more if you want to see these fights happen. You know, I don't have to necessarily have to be anybody on DAZN. I can fight people on Showtime, PBC, Top Rank. We can make these fights happen one way or another. Either we'll send the offer, you guys come over here, or we'll go over there if you guys send the offer. I can do that. It's in my contract. Shouldn't be talking about my contract, but I can go anywhere I please to go.